offense. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using Global Tellink.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Tom. How's it going?
Doing good, good. How are you doing tonight?
I'm all right. Had a visit today, so that was good. And other than that, just, over here living.
Yeah.
So,
it is a dream by now, right? It's got to be a bad dream, right?
It's a nightmare, all right. But going on, I got a month until sentencing. That'll turn out to be a year and a half until my new trial, hopefully. And there's going to be some fireworks and some heads rolling. So, because one way or the other, I'm not. Our united justice system certainly isn't just.
Yes.
We all know that.
We were just talking about that.
We were talking about that.
No one ever. Go ahead.
Oh, we were just talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no one ever thought that we would see, a president on some of these crazy charges when we've seen other things and we're seeing other things happening. And it's like, at least some of the world or some of the country is waking up a little bit, or at least it's seeing that it's like, guys, in my discovery, there's BLM all over it, right? Biden's laptop matters. Biden's laptop matters. Biden's laptop matters. Well, I've been arrested for 2.5 years. Over. So, how is this just now coming out? 90% of this evidence was out and available for people to look up. We haven't even gotten into the underage prostitution that Hunter. We haven't even dove into that, I guess, because they can't play it on the media. I mean, how are you going to play it? MTG got slammed for putting up those pictures or whatever, even though they were already blurred out. But I don't think those were the underage minors. I think that was just the Russian women of the night.
Yeah, right.
That wasn't even. We didn't even dive into that. But there's so much evidence going on. A couple of the guys and I were talking about it today, and it was like, hold on 1 second. Hey, Brandon, this is Northern Neck. Northern Neck, right? Okay. Brandon saying, hey, when you're done, let me know. I guess if he was talking, or he wants to talk, or I don't know, maybe he just wants to talk tonight. I don't know. You guys are more important. But yeah, it's crazy. I think that if anything, if I have to prove, or not prove, I don't have anything to prove. But if I have to expose one thing and get the real truth out about the one thing, it's about the Virginia justice system and the marshals and how they've been flip-flopping people in the federal system and then using jails owned by who knows who, and using federal funds for years and years and years, since '94. Okay. Okay. Sorry, I got people talking in my ear. Brandon's home with DC right now. He might not call. Monaco might call after I'm done.
Okay.
So, but yeah, the fact that whoever owns these judges or these jails, the story goes, these 3 judges plus, another publicly traded, company, and it's all hush hush, and it's all, it all started in '94. That seems to be the year when everything started. 94, 92, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I think 94.
Yep.
And, there's a big story behind that. And people just have to dig into it and get to it. People, I have my dad was a HR, human resources director, at a fairly, a medium-sized company, but he'd been doing it for 30-something years. He could look at you, and he could know it within 15 minutes or 5 minutes of having an interview with you, whether you had a drug problem, an alcohol problem, whether you were lying, whether you were, everything about you just by talking to you. And that trait kind of was passed on to me. And I could tell something's going on here. I talked to certain officers and certain people in management over here, and ever since, and I'm not saying ever since I started talking about stuff, but something's happening. In the DC jail, Landerkin gone. Okay, she resigned. The story is that it was a forced resignation. Now, we can prove that she forged documents for the J6ers. Now we keep on talking about these civil lawyers, guys. We really need civil lawyers like a firm to stand up or step up, and unfortunately we need someone on the outside to start calling them up. But if anyone is listening, I have thousands daily notes, thousands of pages. We can take down Northern Neck, we can take down DC. There are officers who have come up to me in both facilities and said, listen, we know illegal stuff is going on. We know that this isn't right. And we're not going to act like everyone here shouldn't be here. I'm not saying that one bit, but they're still Americans for the most part. Even if they aren't Americans, we are America. We are America. We are Americans. We are better than this. You have to still if you're going to treat someone, and they're going to make a big deal about civil rights, about 9/11 terrorists and stuff. Why aren't they making a big deal about the civil rights on everyday Americans, whether they're here for a simple drug possession, or whether they're here for storming the Capitol of the United States, and which I won't even get into, but I use storming the Capitol as obviously in a sense of, we all know this was a setup, but or for simple drug possession or murder, or rape, or sex trafficking. It doesn't matter. I'm not saying that some of these people aren't scum and some of these people don't deserve to be treated like this. However, human rights are human rights. The Nelson Mandela laws and everything else came out for a reason.
Right. And
this is America.
There's a saying that's attributed something. Nelson Mandela said it, but it had to do with the measure of a society is the way they treat their children, and you could take that into the same vein of it's how we treat the least fortunate among us. you know, and there is a responsibility that we have that should be as fair as it possibly can be. So I think you're absolutely dead on.
Yeah, especially pre-trial. I mean, listen, the U.S. This isn't like, hey, we need to pass another law. This is like, hey, we need to follow the laws, kind of like the drug laws, kind of like the gun laws, kind of like everything else.
Right.
You know, we don't need another law. All right, we need to start following the laws that are on the books, and then go forward. You know, if laws need to be tweaked because of certain, you know, because of this or that, that's fine. Then go back to the Trump, you know, way of doing things. For every new law you make, you got to throw out two.
And I think
that we can do that for you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, and that was his plan, but they did something like 7-1, didn't they? I mean, they really exceeded it.
I mean, it should be, you know, because there's just so many. Hey, let's pass another bill. Let's pass another bill. Let's pass another bill.
Right.
And you guys, like, no. Let's start. That's the biggest thing that I've gone through so far. It's if the law is supposed to be blind, you're supposed to have the same rights. You're supposed to have rights that are on the books. Everyone's supposed to have the same rights. And yet, and it's one thing if someone is, you know, uneducated and doesn't care or you know, this or that, and then decides, hey, listen, I'm just going to give it to my lawyer, and whatever they give me, they give me. That's fine. If they decide to do that, that's fine. But if you want to have your discovery, you should be entitled to your discovery. You know, I was locked up for over a year before up and throw away the key for 2 years before they were done producing discovery, meaning finding discovery. So they locked me up on, you know, on a charge that they didn't even have an official victim or anything like that. They just said, oh, this person's this person. Here you go, lock away the key. And they got some judge to sign off on a search warrant using false evidence and illegally obtained evidence. They have used this witness 1 and witness 2, wouldn't give us the name. Turns out that I don't know where they're getting these, you know, this statement, but the statement isn't the same statement that they gave us. So where are they getting all of these extra facts from? Facts, quote unquote. You know, and I've been locked up for 2.5 years, and now I'm just being forced to. I was absolutely forced to plead guilty to 14 felonies. That or ask for a plea deal, or go to trial where with a lawyer that was on my case for 45 days.
Yeah.
Just allowed my lawyer of a year and a half to leave without ever, you know, even getting anything from me. No, nothing signed, nothing this, nothing that. So for a year and a half, I followed someone else's guidelines or guidance, saying, no, this is what we should do, even when I said, no, I don't want to do this. Trust me, follow my plan, follow my plan, follow my plan. See ya.
Wow.
So, and now I'm caught holding the bucket. Well,
You have 1 minute remaining.
it's not right. I still don't have evidence.com. A lot of these people are in the same boat. You know, they're holding some of us because they want to hold us. And you know what? The Republicans are letting them hold us because they want to use.
True story.
You know, it's not right. You know, there's just like it's no, you know, I know we have 30 seconds, but it's no, you know, it's all planned. This has all been planned for the past 2 years. All these charges on Trump have been planned for the past 2 years.
Absolutely.
If you're just if you're just starting to see this, we've been talking about these charges on Trump for 2 years now. Well, that's the end plan. That's the game plan. We know that's the end game. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for still being there 2 years later, 2.5 years later.
Hey.
And God bless.
And happy birthday.
And
happy birthday.
Thank you for using Global Tellink.
Just a terrible. Some might just raise a spirit.
So, I listen to this guy talk, and every other sentence is another constitutional violation. I was like, what the hell? And this is going on, and you got half the country that thinks it's okay. I think it's half the country. I have no idea. Actually, now if I sit down and think about it, it's not half the country. I think the majority knows that this is all crap.
Well, he touched on so many different things there.
Yeah, he did.
One of them being that. So that was Chris Quaglin, everybody that might have tuned in late. Yeah, Chris really has had a tough time of it, aside from his celiac disease and just abysmal, food quality and care. Then to have his attorney basically just leave him in the lurch and then not be able to get discovery with his new attorney. Yeah, pretty tough. But he's right on a couple of things. He mentioned again, this is headed to civil court. This is where these guys are going to come out on. And so we need to communicate with him to let him know that work is already being started. And he is a documenter. He's made that very clear early on, and actually he does keep records of everything. So that's the kind of thing. These guys all do it. Many of them do, not everybody, but a lot of them were very good at keeping records. And that's one of the benefits, I think, of having these calls, because over time, these statements, every time these guys make a statement, they become part of it. They lend credibility because we've been saying it all along. It's been there all along. So I think that's going to be helpful to these guys in the future.
So aggravating.
Okay.
So I was thinking about the birthdays. I don't know how sensitive that information is to people. You know what I mean?
Well, I believe Chris had mentioned it a few times. His birthday was the end of the month, because I poured up my head. And so he mentioned it a few times. But he didn't mention it tonight.
I guess it doesn't. It's not like they could get.
So yeah, that's kind of the point. I mean, we went and bought Cheryl a pistol right before last.
Hear that?
Yeah, so like.
I think we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna wrap up some of the bulkier items here, and hopefully another call comes in. But it sounds like we might be gonna get a rainstorm.
So and we were filling out the paperwork for the background check and everything. And I was like, oh man, they're gonna lift up the stress. And the guy behind the counter there at RW, they've already got it. They don't need special database. They've got everything. And he's right. I know he's right because I've seen some of that. And I think worrying about too much about what they do or don't have, you got to remember, they know when you wipe your butt. If they've got a question about you, they don't always have to send someone out to look. They just get on the keyboard and type it in.
Yeah, right.
So there is the notion
We're
of
going to get more calls, but
what kind of harm can
there's
you
big
do?
thunder.
Because you can do harm, and that was like Robert Morse's website. We had that discussion.
Yeah.
But if you're putting out information, just think of it this way. If you could type in what you're trying to put up in a search engine and get more than one hit, you're okay in putting it up.
Yeah, okay.
Again, my point on Robert Morse's thing is they'll try to track down where the link was and got clicked on it. That's easy to do. So that's why we don't want to put a link to Robert Morse. Right, they'll start looking for proof. Who are these people normally that pay for? They're supporting this guy, Robert Morse.
We'll be back.
I don't think there's a perfect answer.
Anything to put me up on the wall?
Small chair. Not my bad.
Stuck
Here it
here.
comes.
Now I'm stuck. Guess I could have walked out.
But you know what? After today, the weather's going to get a lot more comfortable.
Yes, it is.
I don't think we have any more 90-degree days in our forecast.
Everything I'm seeing says mid to upper 70s with the occasional 80 or 81.
I'm going to start to plant my winter garden next week.
Really?
Strawberry, cauliflower, peas, lettuces.
Are you pretty regimented at when you do that?
We haven't done winter garden yet. We're only just in the
Is it Labor Day kind of week? Is that the rule of thumb?
Yeah. It would have been dried by frost, so we have about 30 videos before frost.
So I had an interesting experience. There's a guy down there in Reedville that does work on lawnmowers, so I took him to Kubota. He needed new rubber on the rear end, and he couldn't get the wheel off. Yeah, I was talking about that. So I went and picked it up. I said, I'll take it off. So I got it off today. Didn't destroy the transmission in the process. Took 2 rims and 2 brand new tires down to the tire joint there in Burgess.
Here it comes.
Yep,
We're going to shut it.
We gotta go.
Thanks for the warning.